Hello everyone and welcome to the final episode of 30 years of Jurassic Park, a celebration of 30 years of our favourite film and a closer look at the actual paleontology of the dinosaurs present in the film thanks to information provided by our friends at Everything Dinosaur. In this episode, we'll be taking a closer look at the most iconic animal from the entire franchise, the iconic Tyrannosaurus Rex. Let's take a closer look. The T-Rex is synonymous with Jurassic Park, well known for its iconic breakout sequence in the film. Spielberg's smart use of dark, nighttime photography enabled the filmmaker to blend CGI with animatronic in a near seamless sequence which marks the true apex of the 1993 cult classic. During this sequence, the animatronic of the Rex even ended up malfunctioning, adding to the terror the actors felt during filming. Appearing throughout the film in many different sequences, the T-Rex is arguably the most iconic dinosaur to feature within any film, and for good reason. Represented on screen with a true sense of weight and scale to it, the Tyrannosaurus has earned its spot in the Hollywood Gallery of Fame. There is no denying the VFX for the Tyrannosaurus Rex is groundbreaking, but we were curious as to how accurate it is, given some people may have preferred to see a feathered dinosaur. We asked the Everything Dinosaur team to give us some insight. T-Rex escaping its paddock is perhaps one of the most memorable scenes in monster movie history. For many, it is the T-Rex that is the star of the film, if not the entire franchise. However, the cinema version of this Tyrannosaur was very different from what we can perceive from the fossil record. The Jurassic Park T-Rex does not have feathers. Whilst the presence of some form of feathery coat remains unproven, for example, the only skin impressions known show scales but do not preserve any evidence of an integumentary covering, it is likely that a fully grown adult animal would have retained a sparse covering of feathers. Perhaps feathers over the top of its back, on the tip of its tail, with a denser covering over its head and the top of its neck. The theropod had a fast growth rate, certainly comparable to modern birds and mammals. It is likely that T-Rex had a high metabolism and it wasn't ectothermic, cold-blooded, or ectothermic. If this dinosaur could maintain a stable internal temperature, not having to rely on its environment for heating and cooling, then having a feathery coat would make sense, particularly in younger animals. Hatchlings, juveniles, and immature adults would have had a larger surface area compared to their body mass. They would have lost heat more quickly as a result. It is plausible to consider that as T-Rex grew and matured, it lost most of its feathery coat, its sheer size helping it to maintain a stable body temperature. Losing excess heat would have been a challenge for a fully grown adult T-Rex. It could have shed heat through its bare skin, like many birds do today. To keep cool and to lose body heat, T-Rex probably panted. The feathers retained by the adults may have had a role in visual communication, used in displays to settle disputes or to win mates. T-Rex was deep-chested and proportionately narrower over the hips. Several famous museum displays, such as the amazing Sue specimen on display at the Field Museum in Chicago, have been remounted to reflect the improved knowledge of body shape. Those tiny arms were also inaccurate. The shoulders and upper arm were very muscular, giving the impression of a lack of definition between the shoulders and the chest. The placement of the arms and how close they were remains open to debate. In the Sue exhibit, for example, the distal ends of the facula, or wishbone, are in contact with the coracoid scapulae. This configuration results in the arms being further apart. However, in other skeletal reconstructions, it is the base of the furcula that abuts up against the coracoid scapulae, sorry for the pronunciation guys, and this causes the arms to be closer together. The hind legs were extremely strong. T-Rex had large thigh muscles and a deep, powerful tail. The neck was broad and this animal probably had thick protective skin on its throat. As in the movie, the head was massive. Mature animals had prominent bony bosses over their eyes. There may have been a large raised scale, known as a scute, associated with the jugal bone, and those huge teeth were probably less prominent. Recent research suggests that the T-Rex may have also had lips. Not only would a T-Rex have looked very different from its on-screen version, some of the physical feats attributed to this dinosaur in the film are highly improbable. For example, in one scene, the Tyrannosaurus Rex chases after a jeep. There have been numerous studies undertaken examining T-Rex locomotion. It probably wasn't capable of moving at more than 30 miles per hour. Top running speeds calculated for this dinosaur do vary. Perhaps a short burst of speed, reaching a maximum velocity of around 15 miles per hour, was the upper limit for this bulky theropod. It may have been surprisingly agile for an animal of its size. Research published in 2019 postulated that Tyrannosaurus Rex was capable of making sharp turns. It may not have been as fast as depicted on the silver screen, but this was a highly manoeuvrable animal. Freezing and staying perfectly still, a tactic employed by Dr. Alan Grant to avoid being eaten, would probably have been ineffective. Whilst it can be speculated that movement would have triggered the predator's hunting and pursuit instincts, T-Rex is thought to have had acute vision. The location of the orbits, or the eye sockets, and the shape of the skull indicates that this dinosaur had binocular stereoscopic vision. It has been postulated that T-Rex had vision equivalent to a modern hawk or eagle. It had acute senses and may have been more intelligent than previously imagined. It has been speculated that this animal was capable of complex behaviour, such as employing tactics to hunt prey and cooperative hunting. T-Rex did vocalise, but it is unlikely that it was capable of producing an ear-splitting roar. Nothing screams iconic Kenner toy like the classic release of the Red Rex, an iconic model of the Tyrannosaurus which is still popular to this day. Although this version of the Rex isn't fully accurate to the one seen on screen, it holds a special place in the hearts of many collectors, and is still one of the most sought after items from the old Kenner line. It's also worth noting that recently, in their 30th anniversary toy line, Mattel released a tribute to this toy in the form of the fantastic new Mattel version of the Rex. We also saw the release of a young Tyrannosaurus in Wave 1 of the 1993 films alongside the Red Rex, providing fans with less budget with an opportunity to still add the iconic animal to their collections. And for anyone looking for a pocket-sized rendition, we also got a hatchling version of the Rex with the original Robert Muldoon. The modern day has seen an iconic dinosaur revisited with the Hammond Collection Tyrannosaurus Rex, arguably the super articulated Tyrannosaurus Rex figure which many of us have dreamed of. The Tyrannosaurus Rex is so iconic, so we were curious to see how the Everything Dinosaur team would pick a couple of alternative models which fans may like, given there are so many of this dinosaur out there at this point in time. The team said that the Jurassic Park franchise has certainly influenced model makers and manufacturers, perhaps most noticeably in the T-Rex figures that have been produced. It could be argued that a definitive, accurate T-Rex replica has yet to be manufactured. The influence of Jurassic Park is strongly reflected in the output of companies like iToy Studio, W Dragon, and the Nanmu Studio Jurassic series. The recently introduced Nanmu Studio 1 and future King figures draw heavily upon the cinema screen version of T-Rex. These replicas are well made, beautifully painted, and have proved to be extremely popular amongst model collectors and dinosaur fans. Collector deserves some credit for introducing feathered T-Rex replicas into both their deluxe and Age of Dinosaurs popular range. In 2016, Collector introduced a T-Rex corpse model reflecting the tough lives of these dinosaurs and reinforcing the theory that tyrannosaurs were occasionally cannibalistic. Safari Limited too have introduced feathered dinosaur models. However, the majority of T-Rex models, and there is a huge range to choose from, still provide an inaccurate representation. Tyrannosaur models from Papo are popular, as are figures such as the T-Rex known as Wilson from the Chinese manufacturer PNSO. Since Reebok started making prehistoric animal models, the company has produced several different types of Tyrannosaurus Rex. This company deserves praise for its eclectic T-Rex output. Figures such as Tusk and Kiss explored the concept of lips in theropods, whilst the Killer Queen figures were considerably influenced by Jurassic Park. Reebok has even produced a pair of vintage Tyrannosaur figures, Mesozoic Rhapsody and Californication, awesome names there, reflecting cinematic depictions of this iconic dinosaur that existed long before Michael Crichton wrote the book. For model collectors, there is certainly a huge range of T-Rex figures to choose from. Most collectors don't consider a model range to be comprehensive until a Tyrannosaurus Rex has been added to the inventory. The popularity of Tyrannosaurus Rex was certainly enhanced by the Jurassic Park movies. There are no signs of this popularity waning, so dinosaur fans can expect to see even more T-Rex models and figures in the future. As to whether a manufacturer will allow a vertebrate paleontologist to influence model design, this is an intriguing thought. Undoubtedly, Jurassic Park has had an enormous impact. It has inspired a whole generation of scientists and fans of the Dinosauria. The film franchise continues to have a huge effect on how we perceive these animals. Those perceptions are largely reflected in the figures that are produced. T-Rex figures may not be that accurate, but this dinosaur is likely to remain the mainstay of dinosaur model manufacturing and dinosaur model collecting for a very long time. We hope you have enjoyed this series and now know a little bit more about the dinosaurs from Jurassic Park, their history, and some of the fantastic toys released both past and present which have been available over the years. This film is still iconic 30 years later, so it has been a delight to get to celebrate this film through this series. Massive thanks to Everything Dinosaur for supporting this series. Make sure to check out their website at www.everythingdinosaur.com.